Howdy folks, this is Checkers, back again with another installment of the Checkers Channel News, this time the Far Harbor edition. The Far Harbor trailer has dropped for Fallout 4, and I will be covering that in a different format. I'm going to combine it with the channel news because, well, I couldn't get a copy of the video, so we're going to have to do this with still frames, but I will bring you the highlights that I found during the video, and I hope that you will enjoy what I have for you. And for those who want some more channel news, it'll be over towards the end of the video so that those who don't want it, well, they can leave early whenever they desire. And in this first still, we see that we come to our new location, Far Harbor, in what appears to be a lovely fishing boat. So our next image here is something that I pulled out basically because of my own love of lighting, and these are, I believe, powered xenon lights outside in the settlement that we will come to, I believe, in the beginning, and I don't know if we'll be able to use these in our own settlements or not, but I find it interesting that they exist. So here we have a set of armor that I believe was made from a diving suit of some sort, and it may allow us to breathe underwater even in this setting. However, it wouldn't be very good for very deep dives considering those gaping holes at the shoulder and legs. And here we have another look at the diving bell armor and a creature that I could best describe as some sort of nightmarish cross between a mosquito and a lobster. I honestly have no idea what that is. So here we have a picture that I really like. The fellow in the foreground has a lever action rifle with a scope and a suppressor, and we haven't seen lever actions since Fallout New Vegas. He's also wearing a military overcoat, which I believe is armored just by the thickness of it. He has an ammo pouch at his belt. The fellow in the background has a weapon I believe we'll get a better look at later in the video. So here we have a familiar face and a familiar back. Nick Valentine on the left, looking over at the female version of the Sole Survivor in her Vault 111 suit. I believe she has some Children of Adam inscribed armor on her shoulders, and she's topping off her ensemble with a lovely fishing hat. I say her armor is Children of Adam inscribed mainly because of the banner in the upper right. And, well, there's another one over to the left. But when you are truly devoted to Adam, you make yourself a wonderful spring steel Adam helmet. That way everyone knows that you are truly devoted to Adam. So here we have something really interesting. These are Children of Adam inscriptions on the shoulder and back plate. But the helmet appears to be something like the riot gear or advanced riot gear that we saw in the Lonesome Road from the 11th Armored Division, was it? In Fallout New Vegas. It also, which basically is the armor that the NCR co-opted to use for themselves and improved upon, one assumes. But the faceplate definitely has that riot gear NCR look. The helmet top appears to be a combat helmet. Whatever the case may be, it's some really interesting armor, and one would have to guess, you know, anti-radiation armor, maybe some sort of anti-hazard armor. And here we have a boat hook, a new melee weapon option coming with Far Harbor. And here we have another old friend we haven't seen since New Vegas, what I believe to be a gecko right there in the middle, just below that middle stump. Here we have an observatory using wind-generated power, perhaps among other things, and I do believe we will see the interior of this observatory in just a few moments. So back a ways in this video, we had the older gentleman in the army overcoat with the lever action rifle, but behind him was someone else using a different weapon. And also in the Bell dive suit armor images of the Sole Survivor is using a different weapon. This weapon, I believe. And this weapon looks to be the love child of a British Sten machine gun and a German MP40, colloquially known as a Schmeiser, although that's not entirely accurate. The stampings on the side look very MP40-ish. Many of the components look very Sten, which is probably going to make this a submachine gun, although whether it's fully automatic or semi-automatic is probably going to depend on the receiver that you install in it. So earlier in the Far Harbor trailer, the actual trailer, there is a moment where we see what appears to be a lanternfish underwater with just the two lighted prongs exposed. Here the creature is actually emerging before it leaps to the attack, And I think we shall call this a lantern lurk, whether that's what it's called or not, because, well, that name actually seems to fit quite well. And here we see the return of the mosquito, lobster, praying mantis evil creature from Nightmare, and a new gun that may be a rail gun, although it could also be a harpoon gun. I can't actually give you a solid guess on what it does, but it is interesting. So here we have more shadows of Fallout New Vegas, and specifically the Old World Blues add-on with the main facility in Big Mountain, if you've seen that. This is also, I believe, the interior of the observatory we saw earlier. And if you look in the center, there is someone ensconced on a throne who I believe we will see in the very next image. So here we have our Nick-alike. This is perhaps an earlier prototype from what Nick is himself. We can see more fuses and hoses and tubes holding him together. This is also the synth, I believe, who was in the throne in the previous shot, which would probably make him the leader of the faction that's in control of this observatory. Alrighty, folks, that brings us to the end of the Far Harbor breakdown and back to the beginning of the Checkers Channel news. So I would like to thank everyone for all the well wishes and well-wishing for my injury. The best thing I can say is that I have not made it worse, which is really pretty awesome. I am on the mend, and I do hope to be back to at least my version of 100% as soon as possible. On the plus side, I can still do this with relative ease, so I am trying to get back into a better full swing of things. In other gaming news, if you're into the Diablo 3 scene, I would tell you that Season 6 has started, and it's actually pretty interesting. Diablo 3 is not a game that I will be covering, but if you are into D3, the 6th season is pretty cool. They've added some new stuff that actually makes it pretty fun, probably the most fun I've had since it launched. The drop rate may be a little less friendly than it has been in past seasons. That's not just my opinion, it's some other folks that I've talked to too, but you know, it is random, so it's really hard to say for sure. Anyway, that is my PSA gaming news for the Checkers Channel news in this edition. And once again, thank you all for your very kind words and your well wishes. I really do appreciate it. It really does help to get through something like this. Alrighty, folks. I would like to remind you that I have a Twitter link in the description of the video and on my channel main page. If you're on mobile, it'll be on my channel About page. Also, if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you will see a small letter I with a white circle around it. These are cards and links to other videos that I've made. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope you found the video informative and maybe just a little entertaining. I would like to invite you to subscribe, like, and share if you so desire, and ask you to please take care.